Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rama Rendra Saputra, student from Language Education and Study Program Maritime University of Raja Ali Haji. Alright, in this video I will review the journal for my final exam with the title is Vocabulary Self-Collection Strategy. Is it effective to improve vocabulary mastery achievement on science senior high school students? This journal written by Rizal Arisman in 20 and 21. Alright, the objective of this research was to find out whether there was a significant difference in vocabulary mastery between students who were taught using vocabulary self-collection strategy and those who were taught using a conventional method. Alright, this research used a quantitative approach with the experimental methods of quasi-experimental design. There were 60 students involved as a sample of this research selected using the purpose cluster sampling technique. The instrument used was a text including pre-test and post-test. There was a significant difference to vocabulary mastery between students who were taught using the vocabulary self-collection strategy and those who were taught using the conventional methods. Furthermore, based on the result of the N-GAIN test, it was found that the vocabulary self-collection strategy was more effective than the conventional methods. Alright, introduction from this journal is mastering vocabulary is important to getting know any language. This is due to that the vocabulary is built into all the statement of the language, to the specific reading, writing, speaking, and listening. While not having sufficient vocabulary, it must be not possible to gather proper abilities in any language skill, such as speaking, such as listening. Think about the significance of mastering vocabulary. It ought to learn using the suitable strategy that students' vocabulary mastery can be stepped forward. Mainly, at the senior school level in Bau-Bau, such as Sulawesi, it is supported by Kafipur and Nafi in 2011, which argue that the use of learning methods is very essential in the process of vocabulary acquisition, and it is highly dependent on the effort of the learners. As stated by Nation in 2001, the language of reading, listening, speaking, and writing have two distinct forms of vocabulary. This vocabulary is receptive, productive, passive, and active. Gaining knowledge of vocabulary is not just about its forms or significance. Varys and Hedgog in 2009 advised that word learning consists of layers of meaning, some of synthetic guidelines and boundaries, e.a. the grammar of the word. In addition, the socially construct pattern for the right use of the language, or word use patterns, which means pragmatic and sociolinguistic conventions. Alright, according to Watts in Johnson in 2008, examines sure elements of making sure accurate gaining knowledge of vocabulary. For the first is repeated exposures, which imply that pupils have to come across new words in numerous conditions over time. And the second is significant contexts that are words utilized in vocabulary mastering have to associate and plenty as a feasible to the life or experience of the pupils. The third is previous expertise. What is this? That is within the context of acknowledged words and ideas. New words ought to continually be delivered. The fourth is links that illustrate or join the connection among new words and well-known word or concept. The fifth is the contextual clues and dictionary the pupils use to discover the lacking or infamous word in the context of sentences or paragraph. And the last is the manner pupils look up Words within the dictionary should be combined with the way they study them. Pronounce them and use them, that is, whilst they come across new phrases to see them. See the as a part of sentence. Speak them and use them inside the written or oral context. It has to additionally be mixed with the teachers. Alright? Think about the importance of vocabulary that it needs to gain knowledge of within the ideal methods. For learners to collect new vocabulary through the mastery method within the classroom. The issue seems that the vocabulary of the pupils as SMA Negeri 4, SMA Negeri 4, Bau-Bau, Sode, Sulawesi. By knowing the problem faced the students of senior high school 4, Bau-Bau above, the researchers suggest one strategy to overcome it. Researchers use the self-vocabulary collection, or VSS, strategy to educate vocabulary enhance pupil vocabulary fluency. The VSS turned into evolve with the aid of Radel in 2005. From the outline of VSS above, it could be concluded that using VSS can improve students' vocabulary mastery through making the studying more fun, bringing enthusiasm for students at some point of the studying process, and motivating the students to accumulate new words. As step, researchers display the achievement of the usage VSS enhance student vocabulary mastery. The students increase their activeness within the class and have been encouraged as to ask and answer some questions, according to Rahman 2019. And it helped the student developing their vocabulary. Therefore, the VSS is applied by the researchers on grade 11 students at senior high school for Bau-Bau by expecting that strategy will encounter students' vocabulary learning problem, which leads to the improvement of their vocabulary mastery. By looking at the explanation above, the researchers come with the problem as follows. The first, is there any significant difference on vocabulary mastery achievement between who are taught using VSS and those who are not on grade 11 students at senior high school Bau-Bau? Therefore, this research aims to find out whether the application of VSS is better to improve the student's vocabulary mastery achievement than a conventional method at senior high school for Bau-Bau. Alright, the next is methods. These researchers using the quantitative approach of quasi-experimental design was used for this research. This intended that the studies use group of students, wherein one group changed into dealt with as a control group and some other group turned into handled an experimental group. To collect the data, this research needed an instrument. The instrument used was a vocabulary text. It was linked to the receptive or productive ability of a language overall. The next is finding and discussion of this research. This research is conducted on grade 11 students at senior high school for Bau-Bau. It takes 2 classes as the sample. Each class consists of 30 students, so the total number of sample is 60 students. Since this research used a text as the research instrument, the researchers administer the pretest first, then does the treatment, and finally administer the post-test. 30 items of the multiple choice text must be answered by the students to find out their achievement before and after implementation of VSS in mastering vocabulary. And the result is there a significant difference in vocabulary mastery between who study the use of self-collecting vocabulary approach and those who learn using the conventional approach. And there's no substantial difference in vocabulary fluency between students who learn using by self-accumulating vocabulary strategy and people who are taught using the conventional methods. The outcome which have been offered in the result describe the pre and post-test result in each the experimental class and the control class. The experimental class is taught using a vocabulary self-collection approach, whilst the control class is taught using the conventional approach. The data exhibits that there is a development in the performance and the students' mastery of the vocabulary in the experimental class. These outcomes also are supported by the end result of the engaged takes to discover the effectiveness of every approach. The experimental class is assessed as moderate. At the same time, the control class is assessed as poor. Alright, the conclusion of this research is this research concludes that there is a significant difference in the achievement of vocabulary proficiency among students that those are taught using self-taught vocabulary collection strategy and those who are taught the conventional approach. It reveals that the students have an appreciated achievement in vocabulary mastery after being taught using the conventional methods. Moreover, the result of the efficiency test conclude that the vocabulary self-collection approach is greater effective than conventional approach. This research suggests to use the vocabulary self-collection strategy in teaching vocabulary, since it is better to improve students' vocabulary mastery achievement than the conventional methods. Alright, I think that's all from me. Thank you for attention. I'm sorry if I make a mistake from my speech and my review the journal. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.